our very first hybrid Advent member talk. We are here in person as well as virtual. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's great. I'm so excited to be back. We took July off, but we are here every week, Tuesdays from 4:30 to 5 each week, featuring a different member on the topic of their choosing. So if you are an Advent member and you want to present, let me know and we'll get you all signed up. So I can hand it over to David. And if you have any questions, we'll have a Q&A at the end. You can type those into the comments if you're watching.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam. Hey, I'm David Worrel. I am Advent co-working member as of 2 weeks ago. So I really jumped in with both feet into the deep end. Be nice to me. I'm up in 470, which is the corner nearest the railroad track. And today I'm going to talk a lot about government money. So if you are still reeling from the COVID pandemic, if your business is still hurting, or even if it isn't, and it seems like you're coming out of it, never hurts to have a little extra cash hanging around, and the government is ready to give you a ton of cash. Everybody's probably familiar with the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program. Did you get one of those? Yeah, all right, excellent. Our giant studio audience here is going to be participating from time to time. PPP was the first one, and man, that was a lot of money, right? You could get thousands of dollars per employee. It was all based on payroll. There are 6 big cash programs coming out from the government, or have come out from the government since the original CARES Act, which was the first big legislation that came out after COVID about this time last year. So we're still tracking under my brand DIY-CFO. We are tracking the 6 big programs to come out of that CARES Act. That's the SBA debt relief, where they would repay some of your loan if you have an SBA loan. The SBA actually makes payments for you. The disaster loan, also called the EIDL or EIDL loan, which is a giant 30-year loan available to almost anybody in the country. The PPP, and of course we know the PPP had the PPP-1 and the PPP-2, or affectionately called 2020 and 2021, just to keep them straight. The ERC tax credits, I'm going to talk a little more about today. That stands for Employer Retention Tax Credit, or Employee Retention Tax Credit, sorry. The Theater Rescue, SVO, also called the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. And this is for anybody who owns a movie theater, a music venue, any place where there are chairs. Literally, the legislation says chairs affixed to the floor, or where if you are an artist's representative and you have anything to do with booking artists at a venue, you can qualify for the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. And finally, the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, or RRF, which was a huge effort to try to keep all of our favorite restaurants open and serving food. So those are the 6 that we track. What I'd like to do is just give you a quick update on all of that. And first of all, by way of introduction, you can always learn more about any of this stuff. If you just want to turn me off right now because they're bugging you, jump over to DIYCFO.biz and you can learn all about this in our resource center, or by reading some of our blogs. You can reach me directly, David, at DIYCFO.biz. Okay, let's go to, it's not working. Oh my gosh. Hang on one second. More technical issues while I figure out why I'm not broadcasting. Here we go. Trying this. That's not working. Oh my God. Sure, I've done this a million times, Sam. Really, I have.
I believe.
There we go. All right, now I got the right screen in front of me. All right, there's my website, DIYCFO.biz, and my email address. I'll put that back up at the end. You're welcome to contact me there at any time. So let's go through what's new now. Really, these programs are 18 months old, right? And they changed a lot, and they keep changing. So real quickly, the less important ones: shuttered venue operators. This is the music venues and movie theaters. There is still $4 billion available. So if you know anyone, if you are someone in that industry, or you know anyone in that industry, please tell them there's $4 billion available for small businesses. All they have to do is apply online. They get a giant check in the mail equal to, what is it? It's equal to something like half of their 2019 revenues. I mean, it is a giant number of free money. EIDL, everybody loves to talk about the EIDL. This is the disaster loan, and it was originally limited to $150,000 $100,000 of loan that you would have to repay. It's now been expanded to up to $500,000. Now, still a loan, you do have to repay it, but get this, it's 3.75% interest over 30 years. You will never see a business loan with those kinds of terms ever again in your life, I promise you. This is the cheapest money that a business can borrow. And so if you've got plans or ways for you to expand your business, to hire a bunch of new staff or build a new building or buy a competitor or whatever you'd like to do, the disaster loan might just be exactly the right thing for you. Now, along with the loan came these grants, and maybe folks on this call also received a disaster grant. They were up to $10,000. Studio audience, did anybody get a disaster grant? Oh, I'm sorry. Those were $1,000 per employee, no strings attached, no questions asked. If you have one employee, you get $1,000. That employee can even be yourself. Well, so that money ran out in, I don't know, October of last year, something like that. And we all said, oh, boo-hoo. Guess what? It's all back. There's another $35 billion allocated. And so this time around, they're calling it the supplemental grant and the targeted advance. So 2 new programs under EIDL that you've got to know about. The supplemental grant is up to $5,000. And they're looking for anyone whose revenue declined by at least 50% in any 8-week period of last year. If you had up to 10 employees, and here's the kicker, you have to have an office in a low-income zip code. Not saying anything bad about Advent, but I bet this qualifies as a low-income zip code. I look around, this is an industrial neighborhood. I bet we're all in low-income zip codes. I had a Class A office space on Tyvola qualified as a low-income zip code. So you might be surprised who's actually a low-income zip code. Don't take it personally, but log in and see if you qualify for the targeted advance. And if you, the other way that they do this is if you got the original advance and you got $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 on the original advance, they will round up to the original $10,000. So there's some different words in that, but anyway, SBA.gov, you can apply for the supplemental grant. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up. The targeted advance is also for folks in low-income zip codes. But this is by invitation only, and you have to find an email in your inbox that looks like this. This is the email I got that said, we've got another $5,000 for you. All you got to do is click this big green button, and the money appears magically in your mailbox. So that's pretty attractive, but you do have to get this email. So search your spam folders for the words SBA targeted EIDL advance. And you can see just the words actually targeted EIDL advance appears in the subject line of the email. So really important that you get that. And finally, don't forget, of course, the EIDL loan program. That's where we started. We talked about the actual loans up to $500,000. Those are still available up through December 31st, and you can apply at SBA.gov. Okay, here's the 2 big ones. Let's see. Well, the next biggest ones. The SBA debt relief program is closing soon. It closes in September 15th. But if you have an SBA loan, or if you are working on getting an SBA loan, the SBA will make between 3 and 14 payments for you. So if you are closing on an SBA loan this month because you want to buy a building, or because you want to buy a competitor, or buy out your partner, they're going to make 14 months of payments for you. If you already have a loan, they're going to make payments for you. And be careful, this loan debt relief is not taxable. Your loan will just be paid. That does not create taxable income for you. I know that the tax consequences of all this stuff are very confusing and very important to understand. Okay, restaurant rescue grant. I told you this was a huge program to bail out our restaurants. It was actually completely exhausted in 1.5 days. 36 hours this program was open. 640,000 applicants. I don't know. It was a huge number of restaurants. Almost crashed the website. The first day they tried to get these loans. They ran out of money. There was a big lawsuit. All kinds of crazy stories came out of this one. But just last week, the House of Representatives offered up another $60 billion to go back into this thing. So if you're a restaurant and you did not get the loan the first time, or the grant the first time, this is free money, didn't get it the first time, Cross your fingers, stay tuned. You may very well be in line for more. And likewise, if you know restaurateurs who need this kind of money, let them know that there's still some hope, because people are making decisions about keeping their restaurant open or closing, going completely out of business. And what they don't know is there might be $3 million waiting for them in this restaurant relief fund, this restaurant revitalization fund, is the name of it. Okay. I'm going to skip over ERC for a second because that's going to be my main 10-minute talk here. But the PPP, of course, it is closed. If you have a PPP number 2, that's one that you got this year, you should probably be making payments about now, right? If you got it in February, you had 6 months to spend it. That's August. So your payments are going to, your covered period is over, and now you can apply for forgiveness. Your payments on the loan will start 10 months from now. But let's talk about the people who got this PPP 1 in 2020. Their 6 months was over in November of last year. Their 10 months is now almost over in July or August of this year. And so they will start making payments on their loan if they haven't filed for forgiveness. And you'd be surprised. When you ask the banks, when you ask the SBA, they say, everybody's already applied for forgiveness, it's over. That ain't true, man. My phone rings every day with people who still haven't applied for PPP 1 forgiveness. So if you have any friends, even if they are Uber drivers or pizza delivery guys who got a PPP 1, they need to apply for forgiveness now before they start repaying that loan, before they have to start repaying. And the best news this week was that the SBA opened a brand new website portal to apply for forgiveness. It's called the I can't remember, the SBA Unified Portal, I think is what they're calling it. It's for streamlined applications, meaning that your SBA loan, your PPP loan was for less than $150,000. So again, this applies to all those Schedule C workers, the 1099ers, whatever you want to call it, independent contractors, Uber drivers, marketing consultants who work at home, whatever that is. If you are a Schedule C filer and you got a PPP, you can absolutely use the new streamlined SBA portal. And even if you're a small business with up to $150,000 PPP, you can still use that streamlined portal from the SBA. So that's going to make it really easy. Meanwhile, PPP 2 is ongoing, but the new portal is going to apply for that also. So I think that this, the bottom line is forgiveness keeps getting easier and easier and easier. If you still have a PPP and if you have not finished your covered period, remember, you only have a few more weeks. Check your head count. If you're a small business and you have employees, make sure you have as many employees now as you had in February of 2020. That's pre-COVID. Remember, this is the Paycheck Protection Program. We're trying to keep people employed here. So today, when you finish using your PPP2, you're supposed to have the same number of employees you had pre-COVID. If that means you have to go out and hire your mom and your sister and your dog, you should probably do that, because otherwise the penalty means you'll have to pay back some of that PPP money, and you sure don't want to do that. This is free cash, but you got to play by the rules. The rules say you got to keep people employed. All right, finally, how far into my?
We have 10 minutes.
You have 10 minutes. I'm going to give you 10 powerful minutes that are going to change your life, because the last one is the employee retention tax credit, and this is effing huge. Can I say that at Advent?
Absolutely.
Okay, effing huge. The employee retention tax credit for me was twice the size of my PPP. I only have 12 employees. I got $300,000 from the employee retention tax credit, and it came in a check. This is not some weird ass pay it forward, get it out of your taxes next year. That's not what this is. This is a cash program just like the PPP, and it could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to you. In fact, it's really worth, theoretically, up to $33,000 per employee, including yourself. Are you an employee of your own company? $33,000, cha-ching, right there. All right. You get this claim. You have to take payroll. You have to be a true W-2 employee. And if you are, every quarter you file a 941. And now, based on this thing, when you file an amended 941, you will get an employee retention tax credit. There's a bunch of rules. I'm going to go through them really quickly. What it says is, to be eligible, you have to have had fewer than 500 employees in 2019. You have to have your revenue decline by either 50% last year or 20% this year. And depending on whether you're talking about last year or this year, the benefit is a little bit different also. The total benefit is only $5,000 per employee for all of last year. But then they said, man, this COVID stuff sucks. We're going to make this really sweet for everybody. We're going to give them $7,000 per employee per quarter in 2021. And we're going to extend it all the way through all 4 quarters of the year, which means $28,000 potential credit for each employee. That's based on a percentage of the wages you pay them each quarter. So just talking about this year now, 70% of the wages you pay up to $10,000 in wages will generate the tax credit for each employee each quarter. All right, there's one big rule you got to remember. One big rule, don't double dip. If you've also got a PPP, you cannot use the same dollar of payroll for PPP that you use for the ERC tax credit. That makes it a little bit complicated. I've got some rules here. I've got a spreadsheet for you guys if you want to use my spreadsheet. The timing of this matters because the PPP is over 6 months and the ERC is by quarter. So it starts to get to be some complicated math, and I can help you with that. But right now, if you've got both a PPP and an ERC, or even just an ERC, figure out how you can max it out. $40,000 is per year salary is the most that the ERC will cover for these rebates, right? So you got a few people making 30, maybe you want to give them a little bonus this quarter. Hire more people. Right now, if you qualify for the ERC, $40,000 a year employees are on sale at 70% off. When was the last time you went to Kohl's and you saw 70% off and you didn't buy something, right? Well, okay, maybe that's just me. For $40,000 salary employees are now 70% off because the government's going to pay the first 70% of their salary while you're still qualified. So next steps are to review whether you're qualified, figure that out, call your payroll company, see if they can help you. If they can't, call me. Here's my little paid advertisement here. You can contact me. And in fact, I will take care of your entire ERC benefit for you at no cost. We have a no cost up front. We have a, what do you call that? A commission way of doing your tax break for you at that address. So anyway, that's my whole pitch. I am here at Advent. I am more than happy to talk about tax credits, about accounting in general. The rest of my business is just as a plain old mild-mannered accountant. We do QuickBooks, we do CFO services, we do controller services. So happy to help you untangle your accounting. But man, this employee retention tax credit is just such a huge benefit for anybody who has any employees. I hope that you'll check it out and let me help you. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Wow, that was great. So if you want to stop sharing, or yeah, stop sharing that.
Okay.
Perfect.
Excellent.
So for questions, so we had Bridget with Creative Canvas Productions watching, and she actually has an office
right next to mine.
Yes, right there. So y'all have to connect. But a few questions here. Bridget asked if Advent is in a HUD zone. So I did look that up, and we are.
Wow.
So the whole Belmont neighborhood going into Villa Heights neighborhood. It's
very cool.
I don't remember what that.
Well, so I don't know. Hub is historically underutilized businesses. There's also the opportunity zone. I don't know whether they're the same or not. So that's a little out of my personal expertise, but we can find out for you what that qualifies you for, Bridget. That would be cool.
Yeah, I don't know if those are the same.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure. Also, let's see. Okay, is there an EIDL forgiveness program?
No, I'm so sorry. I get that question so often. They're like, all this free money, right? How come the EIDL isn't free? Well, maybe because it's $500,000. No, it's a pure loan. It is a good terms, as we talked about, right? 3.75% interest and 30 years. So you got a long time to pay it back, but it's not forgivable. Sorry.
Yeah. Audience. Do you have any questions?
If I have a, you say employee, if it's a 1099 qualify for that, or does it have to do with?
1099 does not qualify for the employee retention tax credit because you're not technically an employee of the business, right? But what I think you're saying is you report your business income on your personal tax return, right? And Of course, you know that qualifies you for PPP. And what else? You could get a disaster loan also, I guess. But this particular tax credit is not available for 1099s.
Got it.
Cool. All right.
Cool. Bridget asked if you could repeat the question.
I'm so sorry. So our giant studio audience, there he is. What's your name, by the way?
Thomas.
Thomas. All right. Thomas is representing all y'all who are too busy to get out of your chair and come see us. Thomas asked if 1099 employees were eligible for the employee retention tax credit. And sadly, the answer is no. 1099ers or contract laborers or sole proprietors or whatever you want to call those folks who put their business income on their personal tax return, they are eligible for the PPP. Thomas got a PPP last year. They are eligible for the disaster loan. They can borrow money from the SBA at those great terms, but they are not eligible for an employee retention tax credit. The only employees that count have to be paid by W-2. That's what I call a real employee, right? You're withholding taxes, you're doing all that reporting. And also for the ERC, keep in mind, they cannot be a blood relative of an owner who owns more than 50% of the company. So you are allowed to count yourself, you are allowed to count your spouse or significant other, but you cannot count your children, your aunts and uncles, your nieces, nephews, your parents or grandparents. You cannot put them onto the employee retention tax credit. That would just be a little too tempting to go hire everybody in the world. And
So you can't put your dog on there.
can't put your dog on there. Yeah, I mean, if he has a social security number and technically you didn't give birth to him, so I think it would actually work if you could get a social.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, David, and thanks for everyone who's joined us today. We so appreciate it for our very first hybrid event, kind of in person and virtual. So if y'all have any feedback on how we can improve, such as not being muted for the first few minutes, please give that feedback. Again, Advent Member Talks, it's a weekly event, so every Tuesday at 4:30. I hope you'll join us next week. We have member Danya Williams. I'm going to read her description for her talk, but it's going to be going over mapping out your ideal customer and examples of how you can speak directly to them and get them to buy what you're selling. So very important for folks with services that you're trying to sell in your businesses.
That's good stuff. Look at you, 4:59 p.m.
Got to keep it right at end at 5.
All right.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much. We will see you next week.
All right, thanks.